Hi, this is the group formed by Gabriela, Pedro and Romen, and on this video we will analyze from the appraisal theory point of view two excerpts of two videos of two speeches given, the first one by the actual United States of America President Mr. Joe Biden, and the second one from a speech given by his predecessor Mr. Donald Trump. First of all, I'm going to introduce you to the appraisal theory. Appraisal theory is a theory that describes the types of languages used in communicating emotion and opinion. It is a systemic functional linguistic theory that was developed by Martin and White in 2005. Appraisal theory consists of three subtypes. The first one, that is attitude, that is concerned with one's personal feelings, for example, emotional reactions, judgments of people, and appreciation of objects. Engagement, that consists on the heterogloss, that is the positioning of oneself with respect of the opinions of the others, and the monogloss, that is one's own opinion. And the last subsystem, that is graduation, that addresses how language functions in order to amplify or diminish the attitude or engagement of the text. Okay, so the appraisal theory does not only cover the words used to express emotions or feelings, but also how the authors engage with other authors or the audience and how they modify the strength of opinion expressed. First of all, attitude is analyzed by affect, that is emotions and reactions to someone or something. Judgment, that is human behavior towards entity, which are normally generalized and become social norms, is a second subtype of the attitude. And then there is appreciation, that is the value we personally associate to an object. When talking about engagement, it is analyzed by monogloss and heterogloss, that I explained it before. And when talking about graduation, it is analyzed by force, which grades the speech, and focus, that emphasizes it. And from now on, I will leave you to Pedro and Romen, who will analyze the speeches mentioned before.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Trump's night victory speech, which is a small speech he gave before the results were shown to the public on the night that he was elected. Here we have a small guide with the key points that I'm going to talk about. And the first thing that we notice is the non-linguistic features which are present since the beginning. First of all, the background is full of American flags. Trump is also wearing a dark blue suit from the color of the American flag, and on his left part of the chest he is using a pin of the American flag. All these three elements shows Trump's patriotism. When Trump talks, he also does a lot of shoulder movement, especially from left to right. We have to remember that the left shoulder is for love and the right shoulder is for fight. And there's a specific moment on that speech when he's thanking people close to him and thanking all those citizens which has voted for him. And when he's doing that, he's facing forward with the left shoulder, which is for love. He also does the basketball stepple, which is a very powerful political gesture, which shows a power, authority, and confidence. In addition to that, he also does a lot of firm hand movements, which shows precision. And his most famous gesture is slicing. He does that a lot, which, as I said, shows confidence and precision. Then, from the attitude perspective, we have the three subsystems: affect, judgment, and appreciation. In affect, we have found that he refers to the opposite political party as a very sad group of people. This is also an example of graduation because he is using very, so this is a forced example of graduation. He also says we won't stand for it in relation to the very sad group of people. and he's appealing to people's emotions when they say that they won't stand that the other party wins. In judgment, we find very interesting statements like "this is a record," implying that they have broken any existing records with the voting count. And he also says they can catch us, when he's explaining that Trump has many votes, so the other party won't possibly win. Then, from the appreciation perspective, he says our incredible movement, and he's implying that his political party is the best for America when he says incredible. He also says good possibility, and this is an example of appreciation because he's talking about Arizona. He's not very confident about having won on Arizona, but he's saying that it will have been a good possibility. So Trump is showing that he will have liked to win Arizona as well. There is also a very famous phrase in which he said, "We are winning Pennsylvania." He has also mentioned any other states, but he makes a special emphasis with his tone pitch in "we are winning Pennsylvania." So in here, Pennsylvania is treated as an object, something you can win. So that's why "we are winning Pennsylvania" is an example of appreciation. Then, in engagement, we find that he, in a specific part of the speech, he constantly says, "We have won this state, we have won this another state," and he mentions a lot of states in which he has been the dominant president which has been voted. So in here we see a clear example of monologues because he's being objective. I mean, he's not leaving a space, he's not leaving a door wide open to subjectivity. He's being clear. He's saying, "We have won, we have won, we have won." There is no space for interpretation. And he is using the first person plural, "we," because he's including the public and he's establishing a close relationship with them. Then, in graduation, at the very start of the speech, we see an example of focus because he says billions and billions of people. That repetition of billions is an example of focus because he's emphasizing the number of votes he has, billions and billions. And then, as I already said before, he uses a fourth example, which is "very," to refer to the very sad group of people, which is the opposite party to Trump's party. Then he also says in one point, "We've clearly won," and "clearly" is a fourth example, because he's implying that there's no other possibility. And last, he says the great state of Ohio. In that specific moment when he's mentioning the states that he has won over the other political party, he mentions Ohio and he says the great state of Ohio, and great is a graduation and it's an example of force. So that will be all for Trump, and now my partner Romen is going to talk about Biden's victory speech and how he opposes to Trump. Just to give a little conclusion about Trump, as we have seen, Trump establishes a more close relationship with his public, and Biden is more distant, but that is going to be explained by my partner Romen.
Thank you very much, Pedro. As he said, I'm going to analyze appraisal in Joe Biden's inauguration speech. In this video, President Joe Biden gives a speech after being sworn in as the 46th President of the United States on January 2021. To begin with, I'm going to start by focusing on attitude, which is basically concerned with our personal feelings, emotions, and reactions, and has three subsystems which are affect, judgment, and appreciation. With respect to affect, Biden starts his discourse claiming this is America's day and also democracy's day. In fact, democracy is a concept he emphasizes a lot throughout his speech. This is a manner used to involve the audience. Besides, there are uncountable nouns he mentioned during the discourse, such as history, hope, renewal, strength, survival, and especially unity. Biden repeats this term several times as he believes that through unity, America can achieve great things, such as good jobs, safe schools, or even overcoming the virus. Other examples of nouns I have identified are anger, extremism, violence, hopelessness, fantasy, or struggle. The struggle between the ideal and the harsh, ugly reality of racism, nativism, fear, and dehumanization. In addition, plenty of adjectives are significant in Biden's speech. For instance, fragile democracy, indivisible nation, peaceful power, restless, bold, optimistic, or even the use of verbs such as confront, defeat, unifying, and also when he says that there is much to repair, much to restore, to heal, to build, and much to gain. In judgment, that is when we suppose someone to be in a certain way, institutionalized way of depicting things, etc. There is no much to say, just perhaps when Biden is straightforward and firm when claiming there is much to repair, much to restore, and much to heal, much to build, and much to gain. And in appreciation or the evaluation of objects, it would be an error not mentioning the phrase, this is a great nation, so he's considered a nation as an object, or the will of the people has been heard, the same. And besides that, perhaps democracy is fragile. With respect to engagement, when he says democracy has prevailed, this could be an example of homogloss, that is when there is no open interpretation, as it is a fact that democracy has prevailed. And when he says that to carry out the peaceful power is heterogloss, because that's his opinion, is not a fact. Or another example of heterogloss, he's not a candidate but the cause of democracy, is just giving his opinion. Another example of heterogloss, when he says the will of the people has been heard, that can be a fact, but it's also his opinion. And an example of homogloss is that through unity we can achieve great things. That could be an example of homogloss. And finally, in graduation, Biden starts with a very powerful and optimistic message, asserting that this is America's day and democracy's day, and he maintains the same powerful tone and imperative sentences throughout the whole speech, without any significant diminishment or increasement. But he maintains this message through the imperative sentences already mentioned, and also repetitions, such as in the word unity, or my whole soul is in it, that he's repeated this sentence twice, or when he says thank you repeatedly to the parties that are present. In addition, his bodily hexes is not as remarkable as Trump's, since he does not use his hands when speaking, just when he directs himself to the parties which are present to say thank you. Biden does not point the audience nor uses gestures, but maintains his powerful and imperative posture. However, his use of the first plural pronoun we is widely used throughout the whole discourse, as in we have come together as one nation, we look ahead, we know we can, we are good people, we will press forward, or we, the people, in order to involve himself with the audience. Also another pronouns like our unique America or all of us for the same purpose. And moreover, he even used my friends to refer to the audience, just to involve himself with them. And well, to conclude, it is also worth mentioning that he is wearing a suit, which depicts formality and reassures people, with an American flag pin. And in the background we see stairs, but they are in blue and red colors, which perhaps symbolize the American flag.